I mean, not only did obviously they fired Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, but people are kind of curious. Okay, did going third party at least lead to more sales? Were they selling more copies of games? And it turns out no. The actual numbers are extremely, shockingly bad. Apparently, nobody is buying an Xbox. Nobody is getting a Game Pass, and also, still, nobody's buying Xbox games. I mean,
Airbox. I thought you PlayStation fanboys told people that you buy games, man. Now I get it. On Xbox, they have the excuse of Game Pass Ultimate. What happened to the whole support the developers? I thought you guys really wanted these games. Just to find out that you fools on PlayStation ain't even buying these games either. Which also means GameStop with another W. I told you nobody cares about your unk slop. Your little 20-year-old remasters and remakes. And the funny thing is, you guys are bashing Xbox for games not selling on PlayStation in comparison to Xbox, but at least they have Game Pass Ultimate. You guys have no excuse but to buy these games, and you still ain't picking them up. Well, I guess you guys are too busy playing Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite.
I'm truly in a spot where I'm actually a bit flabbergasted.
I told y'all, nobody cares about exclusives. Nobody cares about your games anymore, man. You know, Microsoft is a little past their prime. They probably should have dropped these games if this is the strategy that they had. They should have probably dropped these games when there was actually a market for them. I think Microsoft is surprised that these games aren't, besides some of them, are not doing as well on PlayStation, especially with the high install base that you guys got. But let's not act like Marathon and Concord didn't sell either, because ain't nobody picking up a PlayStation for those games either. So that goes to show us that nobody cares about these games no matter where they are.
It just seems like no matter how much they advertise, no matter how much they push, no matter how much they say, hey, here's
to be honest with you, I think this is really bad for gaming. And I'm going to say this wholeheartedly, because if nobody's buying PlayStation games and nobody cares even to buy games on Xbox, on PlayStation, that just goes to show you that the dinosaur era is really extinct. That there's just not enough of you guys out there that are really going out there advocating for the physical media, bro, and all this. No wonder they pushing these DRM practices on y'all. Your market don't even exist. And even when they cater to you guys are so busy typing on Twitter, talking about how we taking everybody games. We got Starfield now. But yet now that you got them, now you got to put the money where your mouth is. And guess what? You still ain't buying the games. Like I said, you just showed how meaningless this console war really is. So what? You got Xbox games. You're not enjoying the games. Matter of fact, Starfield sold better on Xbox than it did on PlayStation. And the game was offered through Game Pass. How is Microsoft selling more? This don't even make sense. How is Microsoft selling more copies to games when you guys have the highest install base? What is it, like 5-1, you guys keep saying? And yet Helldivers 2 eclipsed 1 million. Not saying that these sales are astronomical, but at the end of the day, your install base is way higher than what we got on the Switch 2 as well as Xbox, and they're buying games just as much as you guys. So that just goes to show you that the PlayStation 5 ain't nothing but a bunch of casuals playing on it.
Forza, here's the new Halo, here's the new Gears of War. It seems like nobody cares about Xbox games, even when they're not on Xbox. But let's take a look at it.
And nobody cares about PlayStation games, because ain't nobody buying your games on. As a matter of fact, they are. What am I talking about? I mean, Marathon sold better on PC. I think even the Xbox games are selling better on PC than they're doing on console, which also means that console gaming is transitioning into PC. Which also means as to why Microsoft is coming out with this Xbox PC in the first place. GameStop, what another W. Console gaming is dead, bro. I'm sorry, man. You guys that keep beating on a dead horse. What do you guys expect? Nobody's picking up these platforms to play these so-called beloved titles. Or should I say unk slop. Nobody's doing it. It is what it is. People play these games. These people were probably 30, 40 years old when Elder Scrolls Oblivion came out. And you expect them to expect the same person to buy the same exact game that they play because it's on Unreal Engine 5 and they update the visuals to buy the game again now that he's 60 years old? Oh, my goodness.
other reactions, because it seems like even a lot of the big gaming journals, PlayStation's been having some bad times too. PlayStation been shut down studios. So maybe this isn't just particularly an Xbox problem. Maybe it's an industry problem.
I agree. I just think people are just not buying games anymore, man. I've told you guys this from the beginning. Fortnite Battle Pass. I just crapped on my ass, booted up my PC, because I need me Fortnite Battle Pass. Like, this is what these people are playing, man. Free-to-play, third-party games, man. And like I've told you guys before, if these games did not exist, Xbox and PlayStation would be going under. That's the only reason why your console even exists in the first place, is because Sony is milking money off their PlayStation Plus memberships and 30% tax on every single game sale or DLC selling on the platform. That's the only reason why Sony's in business. Literally. And this is not really, this to me, this is not healthy gaming. But I'm happy that you said it's an industry problem, because I've been saying this for a long time. So while you guys out here pointing the finger out here console warring, understand that the general market of video gaming has changed right in front of you. Things are not the same anymore. You're not fighting amongst Xbox and PlayStation. You're fighting against these free-to-play gamers.
Across the board, everybody is kind of underperforming. But I feel like that doesn't exclusives. 41% of people, when asked why would you buy a particular console, said the exclusives. And at this
really, if that was the case, like, I understand he got a Star Fox 64 poster on the wall, so he might be a Nintendo fanboy. But I'm saying that's not true. Because if that was the case, then the games on PlayStation 5 would be selling like hotcakes. Your games are selling better elsewhere. Even the game Marathon did better on PC than it did on console. And that's including Xbox and PS5 together. What are you talking about, man? See, I told you, man, these dinosaurs just don't want to see the writing on the wall. They still want to keep holding on to this unk slop, thinking that these casual gamers really give a damn about playing their beloved franchises and titles. Or should I say exclusives? Clearly, nobody cares, bro.
Point, Xbox just doesn't have exclusives. They just don't. Like, there's Xbox.
And PlayStation didn't have exclusives either at one time. They were putting their games on PC. They were complaining about how they weren't making... Now, I wouldn't say they didn't make enough money. Microsoft made enough money as well. But like I said, it just goes to show you that the target demographic and the target market of where these games had 20 years ago is completely poof. It's gone. Gears of War is no longer that household name that's on Xbox. Let's not forget, Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty did exist, but several other games took those places from them. I remember when Halo was the latest Call of Duty. Everybody was talking about how Halo was so great and how every person was playing that. And now, as you can see, those gamers have shifted to those free-to-play games.
Look at a bunch of like public scrapings of like sales data numbers and also like concurrences. They're able to very closely guess the success.
Now, Forza Horizon did good. Now, mind you, some of these sales are not bad considering that a lot of these games are old. Grounded, Oblivion was a new title. It is a 20-year-old remake. Some of them were tied Doomed Arcade. This is embarrassing. I mean, you know what's crazy, bro? There were games on the failing N64 that sold better than this. Okay, you know what's even more crazy? Exclusive games sold better on the Wii U than what we're getting with this car. This is remarkable, bro. And I told you guys, people are not buying games anymore, man. Look at this. Let me see. Indiana Jones on PS5. Ninja Gaiden. We already knew Ninja Gaiden 4 was gonna flop. I think it sold enough, but only because Game Pass existed as to why it succeeded. This is embarrassing. I've seen games on Nintendo 64, even when Blockbuster and Hollywood Video was at its heyday, and games still sold far more than this. Still sold far more than this. People are becoming inclined to not have to purchase games.
And a lot of this is also like public sales numbers that have been talked about.
This is wow.
And as you can see, this is the amount of games that sold on PlayStation. So
wow, what a 9,200 million install base. And these are the type of sales we getting. People are not buying games no more, man. They're just not. And this is the reason why companies don't want to put $400 or $500 million into a game. Because look at the type of results that you're getting.
These crazy low, not a big shock. Age of Empires, Outer Worlds 2, Age of Mythology. These selling, not sell as much as just Forza. So you have to think.
It's quite sad. But you know what? Like I said, like I've told you guys, this was never a console war. I do think this is very concerning because this also shows us that why would companies invest tons and tons of money into new projects if these are the type of sales we're getting? You know, I know Gears of War Reloaded is an old game, but it was a new game for the ponies. And like I said, y'all didn't even eclipse 1 million. I think I told you guys, they didn't even eclipse 1 million, bro. Like, that's crazy. Back in the days, this would have easily did 5 mil on PS4. Easy! Y'all know this? That game would have sold easy 5 mil on PS4. So I don't know what's going on, but like I've told you guys before, man, at the end of the PS4 generation, when those free-to-plays came out, companies started taking notice and people was like, those God of Wars, those Spider-Mans that they were looking forward to, they started playing to other games. And then NBA 2K started coming up with the open world environment. Remember? Instead of the heads up, instead of the 5-on-5, they start saying, "Oh, you can make your own character and you can go around roaming and play in the playground." That's when the gamers were shifting. Okay, I'm going here. I'm going Fortnite. I'm going to Madden. I mean, they were already doing this in the first place, but they started going in there in droves. But I want to make a really good example out of this, man, because I'm going to show you that PlayStation 5 gamers, they don't buy games, because right now what I'm about to show you, even the Wii U, which was a failure, okay, sold more games than what you're getting on the PS5 platform. Let's see. Now, back then when I used VG charts, some of this is still very much consistent. I know Wikipedia can be a little, outdated, but at the time when I remember, because I remember covering this a long time ago with the Wii U sales, look at this. Look at this. You're telling me that people bought more Wii U games? Now, mind you, the Wii U was a failure. Y'all like, damn, games. You know what's crazy? The Wii U is selling better. Oh my goodness. See, I'm going to throw things in perspective. The Wii U sold more software than even what you're getting on the Nintendo Switch 2. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at what I'm telling you. Now, obviously, the Switch 1 is a different argument. But look at, people was buying more games back then. Look at this. Some of these sales are legitimate. Yep, I remember. Look at this. Oh my goodness, y'all 92 mil? 92 mil. PS5s out there, and you can't sell better games than the Wii U? The Wii U was a flop. Y'all like, damn, games. So this is going to hit the dinosaurs. This is going to hit them really. It's going to hit them in the feelings. So when I told you guys that people just don't buy games anymore, I meant it. Remember when I said the Wii U had more engagement than what you're getting with the Switch 2? Yeah, they're buying the hardware, but they're not buying the games like you guys assume. Oh, the Wii U is the most popular console. Yeah, we know that. But at the end of the day, people was buying more software on the Wii U. I know, because I experienced the Wii U and I had that at launch. I didn't get the Switch at launch, but with how popular it is, with how popular the system is, you would think that people would be playing everything on it. They're not. The only games they are playing is the typical Nintendo exclusives. This is embarrassing, man. And like I said before, man, gamers were buying games like 10 years ago. They're not buying them anymore, man. Ever since those free-to-plays came in, it's been destroying everything. The fact that the failure of the Wii U sold more software than what you're getting on PlayStation 5 is absolutely crazy to me, man. Look at that. We got to go all the way down to they're doing Concord. Look at this. Look at this, man. I mean, look, you know what? I got another failure of a system. Y'all still don't get it, huh? Look at this. The failure of the N64. And yet, they were still buying more games than you. Look at this. This was considered a failure. And look at the type of software. Now, I know what you guys are saying. That's because it's Nintendo. Nintendo gamers. Well, regardless of Nintendo or not, Nintendo Switch 2 owners are not buying games like this. They're not. The only game they sold well was what? Donkey Kong, Bonanza, and I think Pokopia did pretty well, 2.2 pretty early. That probably will eclipse at 3 million at the end of it. But at the end of the day, guys, games was selling better back then. They were. We got to come to the realization, man. Look at this. The list still goes on. These are all the games that were at 1 million. There's probably a few more. 50. The N64 was only known for having 260-something games, and 50 of those games made 1 million sales during a time when Blockbuster and Hollywood Video was renting out software. And you're telling me that people are not buying PlayStation games like that, bro? We're talking about failures. Xbox games can't sell worth a damn. Now, I could bring up the Xbox sales back in the days, but that doesn't matter. I'm just saying, you got to remember, this was a different time frame. This was a different time frame where people are actually buying games. People are buying less games now, man. They are. Even from the Switch 2 standards, they are. The Wii U game sold better on that system initially than what we're getting with the Switch 2. Y'all like, damn, GameStop, you're right. So at the end of the day, man, gaming is dead. Gaming is dying. Everybody's going PC. I mean, PC is kind of salvaging it for right now. But as of right now, console gaming is dead, bro. When you look at this, you're like, damn, people really was buying games like that back then. And you know what's funny? Mario Kart 64 sold no bundle. Oh, yeah. Oh, but it sold like that on Switch 2. Bundled. No bundle on 64. No bundle. You ain't get no goddamn bundle with this. No bundles up in here. No bundled games with the console. Like what you got with the Switch 2. With Mario Kart World. Metroid Prime 4 could even hit 1 million. You know what? We got one more. Hold on. When you look at gaming back then, what has honestly changed? Now, Final Fantasy, now mind you, there's a few games that are not doing as good as they used to, which is crazy. Tekken is still doing serviceably. Final Fantasy is not as strong as it used to be. Metal Gear Solid is not as strong as it used to be. So the household names from PlayStation back then, look at that. Y'all, so PlayStation 2, best-selling console, but yet the software sales is just as if not worse than the N64. Look at this. Look at that. Madden. Y'all talk about, oh, things is different. There was a few games back then. Look at this. Look at that. What has changed? Madden. These are the same games people playing now. Medal of Honor back then was popular. That was like their Call of Duty. Look at this. Look at this. When y'all talk about gaming has changed, well, gaming has changed where? Nobody was buying games back then either. Nobody. This is one of the most popular consoles of all time. Y'all were buying DVDs for this system. And the sad part about it, Final Fantasy and Metal Gear, which used to top on PlayStation charts, doesn't do it anymore. Even after becoming multi-plat, they don't even do it. Man, this is crazy, man. Look at this. Now, this is pretty accurate. Yeah, Mario Kart World, it was bundled, so that did well. Donkey Kong Bonanza has stood the test of time, so Donkey Kong Bonanza gets a pass for me. Pokemon Legends, guys. Look at this. Pokemon was selling way better back in the days. Pokemon Pokopia, which is accurate, 2.2 mil. Probably will get up to 3, probably once everything's said and done. Kirby Air Riders, look at this. And the list is over. Look at this. The Switch 1 people's buying, I don't even have to show that. We already know the Switch 1, they were buying that like hotcakes, okay? This is why third party keeps saying it's the lowest of the lowest expectations. And you guys keep saying, well, the Switch 2 is not out. Switch 2 does have enough games for games that people are not buying games no more, man. They're not buying them no more like you guys think, man. They're not buying them. Even on the Switch 2. I mean, at this point, we might even be getting a gaming crash pretty soon, man. People are not buying games anymore. So when you guys sit there and say, oh, people buying games. No, they're not, bro. Metroid Prime 4 is not even. Metroid Prime 4 didn't even hit 1 million. And that's including with Switch 1 and 2, bro. Man, get up out of here, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, it's always been an industry problem. This was never a console war. At the end of the day, people are buying less and less games now, all of a sudden. And I think it's been going on like this for a while. So expect more failures. Expect more cookie cutter approaches to games. Expect more of this. You know, when you go to the Switch 1, we hitting 60, 70, 80 mil. Switch 2 is never going to see that type of success in software. Matter of fact, we'll show it. Hold on. Switch 2 is not messing with the Switch 1. Switch 2 is not messing with the Switch 1. Switch 2 is not messing with the Switch 1. Get up out of here. Get up out of here. When people say people bought Nintendo exclusives, there was a resurgence. I noticed that with the PS4. I'll even bring up the PS4 one right after this. That is when people were buying games. Okay? Clearly, these gamers, I don't know what it is, they got tired of these games. Because remember, Switch 1 came out at the around similar to the pop-up. Because Fortnite came out around 2017, 18, and it was very bare bones. Look at that. Switch 2 owners were buying games. Look at that. Oh, look at that. They bought Mario Tennis close to $5 million. Y'all didn't even get $1 million for Mario Tennis on the Switch 2. Oh, man. Oh, man. Look at this. They buy 1-2 Switch more than they... Yo, this is crazy, son. Crazy. Y'all ain't buying these games, though. Y'all not buying them. Look at this. Y'all acting like, oh, we buy games on it. No. They're not buying games like they used to. And the Switch 2 games are never going to see these type of numbers again because for some reason, gaming at that point of view had a resurgence. Free-to-plays didn't take over completely. Free-to-plays was just building its infancy. So remember, look at where the release dates for a lot of these games. 2017, 18. This is before Fortnite had its popularity. But by that time, there was going to be a shift in the market. You feel me? So when that happened, so I'm going to show you the PS4. Look at it. You see? You guys want to see games to win another W, right? Look at the years of when these games came out, right? This is all before Fortnite got popular. Look, people was buying games during this time. Okay, there was a huge resurgence in gaming around this time. I know. Look, now PlayStation exclusive selling good. But remember, this was all before free-to-plays. I mean, even though Warframe existed before. This was all before free-to-plays. Fortnite, NBA 2K with the open world and all that. This is all before it. Okay, look at the dates. Call of Duty, we already know that. Call of Duty's always been top sellers. So that's not even a good argument. Look at that. People was buying the Witchers. People was buying, look, they were even buying the Nathan Drake collection for crying out loud. You go look for the Uncharted one on PS5, not even charting. Look at this. They were buying Bloodborne. Look at this. Look at the dates, though. The dates is very important. Look at that. They were buying Ratchet and Clank at $7 million. But this is all before Fortnite got popular. Look. Oh, I know y'all crying in the comments. Like, he's right. He's right. Fortnite killed game and free-to-plays. Killed it. PUBG killed my hobby. Look at what y'all, look, 5.5 mil for Little Big Planet on PS4. That's not bad. Look, people was buying games. Look at the dates. Right? Look at the dates. Right? Elden Ring sold better on PS5. But look at it. Now I'm gonna put the nail in the coffin. Right here, these are all the facts. Launch released shortly after the Pay Save the World version, which failed. Free Battle Royale mode. Look, 2017, right? When those games was in development, right? Anything before it did well. Fortnite wasn't as popular. Those games were still able to exist, but Fortnite didn't hit its stride yet. Then I remember the 2018. That's when it was starting to really peak. Well, with streamers like Ninja. Yep, that's when it was peaking. Yep. Look at this. It had 20 million views by the end. So by that time, this game, this behemoth, and PUBG, and as well as other free-to-plays at the time, was taking over. And then NBA 2K took over. Matter of fact, let's find out when they put the playground in NBA 2K, and we'll have our answers already. Now, mind you, the NBA Street aspect also existed even way before that, even in 2K7. They've already had, they kind of had that even before what it says with the PS4 and Xbox One. But look, 2K15, 16, they started adding, right, with the open park. Look, and then it changed it from distinct parks to a shared, smaller open space. 2K18. That is what brought gaming on. And then people's like, oh, I like this. I'm making my own character. And then obviously as 2K21 and present, we already know what happened after that, right? So it shows you that the only reason why Sony's games and Nintendo's games and all these games was able to succeed back then as successfully as did, because they had no competition. And now that those players are playing the NBA 2Ks, the Roblox, the Fortnites, you name it, because these games are in full effect now with the live service and subscription approach, nobody wants to play your God of Wars. Nobody wants to play your Gears of Wars. Nobody wants to play your Unk Slop anymore. Games still win another W. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I know the real ones will, but the dinosaurs are going to find some way to cope with everything I just said. Take care, guys. Peace out.